Hari Om. Let us chant the last 10 verses of chapter 7, starting from verse 21. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya chitumichati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadham yaham sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasyaradhanamihate labhate cha tatha kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayaha param bhavamajanantaha mama vyayamhanuttamam naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritaha मूढ़ोऽयं नाभिजानाति लोको मामजमव्ययम् वेदाहं समतीतानि वर्तमानानि चार्जुन भविष्याणि च भूतानि मां तु वेद न कश्चन इच्छाद्वेष समुत्थेन द्वन्द्वमोहेन भारत सर्वभूतानि सम्मोहं सर्गे यान्ति परन्तप येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ताः भजन्ते मां दृढव्रताः जरामरणमोक्षाय मामाश्रित्य यतन्ति ये ते ब्रह्म तद्विदुः कृत्स्नम् अध्यात्मं कर्म चाखिलम् साधिभूताधिदैवं मां साधियज्ञं च ये विदुः प्रयाणकालेऽपि च मां ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसः
सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। We have to continue with verse number 28 onwards. We'll read 28 once.
येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं जनानां पुण्यकर्मणां ते द्वन्द्वमोहनिर्मुक्ताः भजन्ते मां दृढव्रताः येषां त्वन्तगतं पापं Jananam punya karmanam te dvandva moha nirmuktaha bhajante mam dridhavrataha.
Those men of virtuous deeds whose sins have come to an end, they, freed from the delusion of pairs of opposites, worship me with firm resolve. But those men of virtuous deeds whose sins have come to an end, they, freed from the delusion of pairs of opposites, worship me with firm resolve. So he's comparing it to the people who are a victim of this Dvandva Mohas in the previous verse. And here he's saying they are freed from the delusion of Dvandva Moha. The delusion that arises out of the pairs of opposites. What is the delusion that arises from the pairs of opposites? The delusion is the knowledge will not be available to you when it is needed. That is moha. Again, I repeat, what is dvandva moha? A person who is deluded by the pairs of opposites. Deluded by the pairs of opposites means the knowledge that you have gained will not be available to you. It will be available before, it will be available after, but it will not be available when it is needed. That is moha. Ajnanam is lack of knowledge. Moha is deluded by knowledge. Deluded. Deluded means when it is needed, it won't be there. So that is the definition of moha. The definition of moha and the definition of ignorance. Ajnanam is you don't know. Shravana will give you the knowledge. You know it, so you can't say you are ajnani anymore. You know it. The jnanam has come, but delusion didn't go. Jnanam is there, but the delusion is still there. Now, what is the difference here? The delusion here refers to the knowledge that will not be available to you when you need it. You may not remember it. You may remember it, but your own mind says, all this will not apply here. All these are delusion. First thing is you may not even remember it. Sometimes you may remember it, but then you will say, no, this doesn't apply. We have to be practical here and we can't apply that knowledge here. All this is dvandva moha. These are the people who caught up in the dvandva moha, which we saw the previous verse. Now he is saying they are free from the dvandva moha. And how did they become free? Virtuous deeds. They did virtuous deeds. They did the right action. Virtuous deeds they did. What is virtuous deed? You will see. Papa karma versus punya karma. Papa karma is that which brings about agitations. Punya karma is that which brings about a conducive environment for manana nididhyasana. Again, these are all fundamentals. Papa karma is that which brings about mental agitations, disturbances. Punya karma is that which makes the mind calm and available for manana and nididhyasana. Virtuous deeds here we are using the word punya as in virtuous deeds, and virtuous deeds here refer to the person developing the right knowledge and understanding. That is why he says virtuous deeds whose sins have come to an end. The sins come to an end. What is the sin? Okay, how do you understand the sins are reducing?
Mental agitations.
How do you understand that your sins are reducing? Your agitation ceases and you fall off to sleep. Correct? You'll become so calm that you'll be sleeping all the time. What is the indication that the sins are reducing? You begin to think rightly. You begin to think rightly. It is right thinking is the indication that sins are reducing. Understand it like that. Then it becomes practical. Sins are reducing means right thinking starts. And what is right thinking? We saw that. We always quote that Mundaka Upanishad. Pariksha lokan karma chitan brahmano. That pariksha. So what is the indication that the sin is reducing? The indication that the sins are reducing is you start thinking. What is thinking? Okay. Does it mean before that they were not thinking? Yes, you are not thinking. You means that person, whoever it is, that person is not thinking. How do you say that person is not thinking? Acquisition and enjoyment. Artha and kama is taken to be the end of life, is taken to be the goal of life, and the person continues chasing that without any thinking whatsoever. He continues to chase that. The person continues to chase. What happens? I should have gotten some happiness already. I should have gotten some mental peace already. Now what has happened? What all I chased for, I got. Carefully follow. What all you chased for, you get. Out of 10 things you chase, 6, 7 you get. Everybody gets 6, 7. Okay, 2, 3 things you may not get, but 6, 7 you get. Okay, even if you get 7, you should be happy 70%. The intensity of your peace and happiness must be so high. The maturity must be so high. But what is happening? Irrespective of whatever you have, irrespective of all that you have got, what is still remaining? The pain and agitation, the worry and anxiety, the stress and strain is still remaining. Something or the other is still making me get angry. Isn't it? Something or the other will get angry, isn't it? Here they put the every 20 feet there is the board here where I'm living. If you bring your pets out, you have to take care of. If you bring your pets out for a walk, what do you have to take care of? Not to bite anybody, Venkatachalam. I know here Anandanil same problem. I know that. I know that. There is a problem. What is that problem? You have to take care of the droppings also. Everything is quiet in your house. Everything is perfect in your house. You go for a morning walk and you see none of them practicing it. You get angry. Looking at that, you will get. So you looking at that, you will get angry. So something or the other is still making you vulnerable for anger. Something in you is still making you vulnerable for fear. It means what? I'm continuing to live life. Only one thing that is continuing is what? I'm continuing to living, and along with me living, what is continuing? Disturbances are continuing. The object of disturbance keeps changing. That's all. Disturbance as such remains. Everyone follow? Disturbance as such remains. Only the object of disturbance change. From mother-in-law, it will change to the neighbor. That's all. But disturbance as such will remain. From neighbor, it will go to some street dog. From there, it will go to something else. But one thing remains. What is that one thing that remains? Disturbance as such remains. And so caught up in the disturbance is papa karma. Is papa. That's why we say papa means mental sin. Sin means mental agitations. Mental agitations caused by a victim of raga dvesha. Mental agitations caused by what? Being a victim of raga and dvesha. Now what is he saying here? He here is saying a person freed from dvandva moha. Freed from agitations. How do you understand that the person is getting freed from agitations? He starts thinking. Are you able to understand now? He starts thinking. And what is right thinking? What is right thinking? Right thinking is a clear understanding. What? World exists not to cause pleasure or pain. The way I relate to it causes pleasure or pain. That is right thinking. World exists. That doesn't cause existence of the world doesn't cause pleasure or pain. It is me that is creating pleasure or pain. So the world exists. Pleasure or pain is my responsibility. Pleasure or pain is my creation. Pleasure or pain is my responsibility. That's where in Vedanta there is a standard thing. Problem is you, solution is you. Problem is you, solution is you. If you are the problem, how can somebody else become the solution? If somebody else is the problem, that person becomes the solution. If you are the problem, logically, who becomes the solution? You are the solution. Therefore, Krishna says, when the papam ends, when dvandva moha reduces, you start right thinking. You start doing the right thinking. So two words important. Dvandva moha. What is dvandva moha? Dvandva moha is knowledge not available to you when it is needed. Knowing it. That is the delusion. Why it is not available? Because of the papa, the sin. The sin is because of what? The sin is because of what? The sin is because of chasing raga and dvesha. These men changed it, he said. But means, okay, connect it like that. Yoga Maya and Dvandva Moha. You read Yoga Maya and Dvandva Moha, and the whole world is caught up in that, he's saying. He's saying the entire world is caught up in this Yoga Maya and Dvandva Moha. If everyone is caught up in this, how can there be freedom? But then there are a few who escaped it. The question is, what did that few do to escape? Are you able to follow? First he said Yoga Maya and Dvandva Moha. Two things. Yoga Maya is the Maya part. Dvandva Moha is the manifestation or the further grossification of it. A person caught up in these two has no choice for freedom at all. It means that all of us are bound forever, caught forever. But then there are a few who have escaped. Sometimes you see, in this animal channel planet, in these animal channels, you see a deer is caught by the lion. Caught by the lion. Choking. It's choking. Few seconds, it just wriggles out and escapes. Where most of the deer is getting caught, this 1 or 2 deers wriggles and escapes. They are the wise deers. They are the wise ones. They are the wise ones. What did they do that impossible to get out of the clutches of? Impossible to get out, but a few got out. What did they do? First thing they did, virtuous deeds. Virtuous deeds. What are virtuous deeds? What is meant by virtuous deeds? Yesham antagatam punya karmana. They ended by doing punya karma. And what is punya karma? Nitya naimittika karma is punya karma. You do your obligatory duties, that is punya karma. So first condition is start doing obligatory duties. Second is dedicate those obligatory duties. First, you don't at the grossest level, the human being will do only selfish, self-centered activities, no obligatory duties. Second layer, the person starts doing obligatory duties, but mostly it will be done out of a fear, pratyavaya. Pratyavaya. Remember this word pratyavaya, chapter 2, he said. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bayat. He said that. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate. Verse 47, chapter 2. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo. So, when you start doing obligatory action, it is most to do pratyavaya. Pratyavaya means when you don't do it, there is a sense of guilt, there is a sense of pain. So to avoid that sense of guilt, you keep doing. Anyway, it's my children, no, I have to do. Anyway, it is this thing, no, I have to do. Anyway, this is thing I have to do. So you are not really inspired or motivated to do obligatory duty, but not doing it incurs sin. Doing it, you don't incur any merit, but if you do not do it, you incur sin. Raj, Sakshi ki nalla school path, you find a good school for Sakshi and you pay her fees regularly and all that. You will not be given a Nobel Prize for that, no? Mm-hmm. Because he is the one who is trying for Nobel Prize. Book after book after book he is writing. Paper after paper after paper he is writing. So one day he will get Nobel Prize. So you will have to do all that, you will not be given Nobel Prize, correct? Because that's what you ought to do. If you don't do it, it is sinful. But doing it doesn't give any merit. The third stage is what? You do nitya naimittika karma for purification. Yajna karma, nitya naimittika karma, you do for purification. That doing nitya naimittika karma for purification is called as punya karma here. In this context, please understand that. In some other context, punya karma means that which give you some good merits. You will go to heaven, exhaust that and come back. That is punya karma in some other context. In this context, punya karma means karma yoga, nishkama karma. Because how can you justify this interpretation here? Because he says you get freed from the delusion of pairs of opposites. Drida Bratam. Worship me with firm resolve. Bratam means vow. Bratam means vow. Drida Bratam means vow nale resolved, isn't it? Vow itself means Determination only. So determination, I don't know. Drida Vrataha. What does this Drida Vrataha means? Drida Vrataha means they do not get distracted. They do not get distracted. It means distraction arises when you are interested in the result. Distraction arises when you are tensed and worried and anxious. When you are doing karma yoga, actions for purification, you will not get worried whether am I purifying. You will not get anxious about that. Why? Because you know this Drida Vrataha will take care of that worry and anxiety. This Drida Vrataha takes care of the worry and anxiety. And what do? They worship me with firm resolve. Drida Vrataha, worship means a constant remembrance. Always remember, worship means bhajanti. Bhajati means a constant remembrance. A constant remembrance that doesn't disturb you. A constant remembrance as you are going through your life, you are remembering the divine. That is bhajanti. You don't dedicate a specific time for remembrance. Okay, initially you may have to do like that only. Carefully follow. How does bhakti works? Initially, you fix a time to remember God. And then you try to be consistent in that first, isn't it? First level is what? You remember God. Very difficult is to remember God. And then you fix a time every day. Morning 15 minutes, evening 15 minutes, I will try to remember God. Because straight away 24/7 remembrance and all will not happen. So you have to go through the stages only. At every stage, Drida Vrataha is important. Every stage, Drida Vrataha works. So what do? Second stage, you decide to worship God 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening. Drida Vrataha means for anything you will not compromise on that. That is Drida Vrataha. And then what happens? There are people who do that, no? They have the prayer time. Wherever they are, they will pray. Drida Vrataha it is. They are of the firm resolve. And then starts the next. We are even ashamed to show that we are praying, isn't it? We don't want others to know that we are praying. We are ashamed even. No, why? So I will do it very secretly. Why others should know? Are you able to follow? All these kind of mental blocks come in the prayer. Firm resolve means they break all the mental blocks and they continue. And you continue like that. What happens? The time that you spend becomes more and more and more. Naturally, you will be able to spend more time upon remembrance of God. Why naturally you will have more time? Because you are free from dvandva mohas. You are no more chasing the moha. You are no more chasing the world. You have that much time. You made a conscious effort to get out of dvandva moga so that you can make more time for the higher spiritual practices. It's not that you get off, you get out of dvandva moha and then you have a lot of free time, and what do? Netflix, isn't it? You don't do that. You don't do that. What do? You make a conscious effort to get rid of this dvandva mohas so that more time you can spend on remembrance. Because the more you remember, the more you are getting closer. The more you remember, the more you are getting closer. Which is going to conclude in 9th chapter by saying, Ananya Sintayanto Mam Yejana Paryupasate Tesham Nitya Viyuktana Yoga Kshemam Pahamyaham. The central verse of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 9, verse 22. Ananya Chinta. The question is, what did you do to come to that Ananya Chinta? Something you did, something that person did to come to this Ananya Chinta. What did he do? Punya karma, freedom from dvandva, moha, drida vrataha. Whatever vratam they took, they are very dridam about it. A firm resolve. Having done all this, what happens to them? Those men, those few escaped. Just as 1 or 2 deers escape. Just as 1 or 2 deers escape from the clutches of the lion. 1 or 2 calves escape from the clutches of the crocodile, isn't it? Lion is also okay. Crocodile is more. If crocodile is, how can you clap? But then there are some calves that escape. You see that. We are looking at what they did to escape. What did they do to escape? Krishna is saying this is what they did to escape. If you are wise, what you will do? You will also do the same thing to escape. This is verse number 28. Yes. There's a clarification somewhere. Yeah.
And I also does Dvandva Moha also mean free from Dvandva Moha also mean seeing temporary as temporary?
The question is, freedom from Dvandva Moha, could it be seeing temporary as temporary? The moment we say Dvandvas, it means Raga Dvesha. It is restricted only to Raga Dvesha. You cannot bring in seeing temporary as temporary. Seeing temporary as temporary and all belongs to the higher level of Yoga Maya. Because the very word Dvandva means opposites. Opposites here refers to what? Likes and dislikes. Raga and Dvesha. So here Dvandva Moha is very specifically used in terms of Raga Dvesha, likes and dislikes only. Do not connect it with real and unreal and all when it comes to Dvandva Moha. In that way, you can keep connecting everything. Are you able to follow? Everything can be connected with everything, but it doesn't, it will not help in understanding anything. Therefore, here is very specifically talking about Dvandva Moha. Why he is using the word Dvandva Moha again and again? Yoga Maya goes over the head. The Yoga Maya is simply going over the head. Everything looks temporary, meaningless in the classroom. When we say Om Sahana Bhavatu, everything becomes meaningless, Mithya, Maya in the class. As soon as we say we will continue next week, what will happen? Ganesh. The Mithya becomes Satya, the Satya becomes Mithya. The whole thing gets reversed, isn't it? Therefore, what is it that he is doing here? He's saying that beautifully connected to the flow, it becomes easy. See how he started. For all practical purposes, 7th chapter is finished with this 28th verse. 29 and 30, he's doing an introduction to chapter 8. Unnecessarily, he is going to introduce a few words and confuse Arjuna, so that Arjuna asks, what you said so many things. Now, what does those words mean? And the whole of 8th chapter is nothing but answering those 7, 8 words that is going to say in this 29 and 30. Akshara Brahma Yoga. Look at the words that he's going to use. Why on earth he used those words? God only knows, but he used those words. So if you come from chapter 7 from the beginning, he says Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. Get rid of this apara and focus on the para, sakama, nishkama, God with form, and then fools think of me with form. I am above all that. Now he said all that he has been saying. Having said all this, what is happening? The moha is not, the intensity of the moha is not going away. Even though he said about Yoga Maya in 13th verse, and he spoke about Yoga Maya a few verses back, Krishna immediately comes down to the level of Arjuna and starts talking about his problem. When we say his problem, our problem also. Yeah, when we say Arjuna's problem, Arjuna is representative of us. Yeah. Our problem. What is our problem? Temporary and real and all is not our problem. How to handle the pairs of opposites and not to be affected is our problem. Are you able to follow? What is our problem? Not able to handle the pairs of opposites. Why are we not able to handle the pairs of opposites? One we want, the other we want to eliminate. Our problem with pairs of opposites is one we want to keep, the other we want to eliminate. Not realizing that you cannot keep one and eliminate the other. Why? Because if you eliminate one, the other goes out. Because both coexist. I only want success, no failure at all. Cannot exist like that. Only birth and no death. Cannot exist like that. Only health and no disease. Doesn't happen like that. Only Markandeya, no old age at all. Subramaniam, how nice it will be, no? Yeah. How nice it will be. Markandeya means the ever teenager boy. Yeah, the boy who's got stuck in teenage. Markandeya. Yeah. The old man thinks how nice it used to be, only that Markandeya, and not get now. So what is moha in relation to pairs of opposites? Wanting to keep one and eliminate the other. Vedanta says, rightly understand and transcend both. You cannot keep one and eliminate the other. What is that one? You cannot keep youth and eliminate old age. You cannot keep health and eliminate disease. You cannot keep success and eliminate failure. You cannot keep profit and eliminate loss, even though we all are trying for it all the time. The past generation tried it. The present generation is trying. The future generation will try. Are you able to follow? Once there is a maturity in understanding the pairs of opposites, there is a better clarity. With that better clarity, you can go for mithya, understanding temporary as temporary. Are you able to follow? So, Dvandva Moha, handling Dvandva Moha is level number 1. Understanding temporary as temporary is level number 2. That is a high state. That's a high state. In this verse, when we talk about Dvandva Moha must not be connected to the higher state. Dvandva Moha, you restrict it to not affected by the pairs of opposites. Not affected by the pairs of opposites means you understand one will follow the other. That's what not getting affected means. Are you able to understand? What is not getting affected by pairs of opposites means one will follow the other. When there is success, you know there is a failure. When there is a failure, you'll understand there is success. You follow? One following the other is right understanding. Therefore, you will not give any exaggerated value to it. You will not give any exaggerated value to it. When you stop giving exaggerated value to it, there is a maturity. That is a matured person. A mature person is what we call as a spiritual person. Who is a spiritual person? A spiritual person is one who is mature. What is the maturity? Maturity that arises out of those practices. So here, restricted to Dvandva Mohas means not being a victim of pairs of opposites. And what is not being a victim of pairs of opposites means? A understanding that one follows the other. One follows the other. Agama payano nityaha tam vitikshasva bharata. Remember that verse? Verse number 14, chapter 2. See, some verses, like a broken tape recorder, we keep repeating, isn't it? Because these are the formulas. Beautiful verse. Agama payano nityaha, agama payanaha anityaha. They come and go. First understand they come and go. If you understand that they come and go itself, will give you the clarity that it is temporary. Why you are not able to understand the temporary as temporary? Because you don't realize they come and go. Agama payanaha means they keep coming and going. So dvandvas, pairs of opposites means they keep coming and going, and you understand that you are not, you understand it rightly, as a result of which you are not affected by it. Maturity means understand it like this. Maturity is when it is there, you enjoy. When it is not there, you don't miss it. That is maturity. Again, I repeat. Maturity means when it is there, you enjoy. When it is not there, you don't miss it. Okay. What is immaturity? When it is there, you are bored with it. When it is not there, you miss it. Again, I repeat. When it is there, you don't even look at it. You don't even bother about it. When it is not there, you miss it. Maturity is that. Who is a mature? A spiritual person is a mature person. What is the maturity? It's not that you give him a good food. As he is eating, he will tell himself, oh, next meal I may not get. I will suffer. That is not that. Are you able to follow? When he got the pleasant, he enjoys it. Situations in life will make sure that you will not get that. At that point of time, what is your mental state? You don't miss it. You don't miss it. This person is called Dvandva Moha, freedom from the delusion created by the pairs of. Are you able to follow? That's how it works. Freedom from the pairs of opposites. So don't connect it with this thing and all here. Yes.
So if we put in the right required effort, stage 1 and stage 2 is definitely possible in one's lifetime.
Another problem. If all that you say, if I do rightly, in one lifetime it is possible, no? Answer is very soon it will happen. Whether in this lifetime or next lifetime or 100 lifetime, we don't know. Venkatachalam, the question that she is asking is, okay, சொல்றதெல்லாம் கேட்கிறான். I will do everything. But in this lifetime, it will happen, no. In this lifetime, it will happen, no. Answer is, the answer is, we don't know. The answer is, we don't know. Why? Even before you start doing, you don't predetermine, you don't fix the destination and walk. Spiritual journey is getting rid of raga dvesha, getting rid of likes and dislikes, and keep moving. That's all. When you will reach that, when it will happen, we don't know. For sure it will happen. For sure it will happen. When, that we don't know. If you say for sure it will happen, when also you can say no. Why it cannot be told? The past, your past karmas is not known. The intensity of the sincerity of the present is not known. Everything about you is not known. But then the question that is asked is, will the result come? Are you able to follow? We don't. That's why Arjuna asked the same question. Halfway through, if I die, what will happen? Remember that question? Arjuna asked. Halfway through, if I die, what will happen? Nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. Nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. The doer of good never will meet with destruction. Durgati will not come. The very fact that you are doing the right thing itself is so ennobling, is so elevating, that itself will carry you. You will not be bothered at all. Because the very fact that you are doing the right thing. So spiritual journey is it's not a painful journey, and the end is going to be pleasant. Understand that. Right from the beginning, spiritual journey is pleasant. But people always misunderstand. Spiritual journey is very painful in the beginning. Only pleasure is going to come at the end. No. The very path itself is very, very pleasant. How can you say the very path itself is very pleasant? The agitations are ceasing. The clarity is coming. Your ability, the bhakti is increasing, the love is increasing, the bhakti is increasing, the love and bhakti is increasing, clarity is coming, clarity is developing. What more unpleasant can happen to you after this? Are you able to follow? Therefore, never have this misunderstanding. Most people have it. They believe that spiritual journey is full of tapas and suffering and pain and sorrow, kashtam, karsila, moksha will come. No, the very path itself is pleasant. The very path itself is pleasant. So, a person who is on the journey, started to experience it, will not worry about how soon it will, when it will happen, or how soon it will happen. A true seeker will stop bothering about it, worrying about it. Why? Because the very journey has turned pleasant. Krita krityascha bharata. First, chapter 15 is going to conclude chapter 15 like that. Krita krityascha bharata. Krita krityascha means the satisfaction of having done, the satisfaction that you derive for having done what ought to be done. There is a satisfaction. That satisfaction itself will not make you worry about the result. That is where doing it rightly, doing it dedicatedly, doing it with sincerity, rightly, dedicatedly, sincerely, all this in one word, Shraddha. The very doing with Shraddha will make sure that right through it is pleasant. Therefore, if anybody comes and tells you that, Upo, spiritual path lala, I'm really doing lot of tapas and suffering, sir. No, you know that person has not started the journey. He has not started the journey. Why? Because the very journey becomes pleasant. Right through it will be pleasant. Ramatirtha gives a beautiful example. Headlights of the car. Ramatirtha gives a beautiful example for this. The headlights of the car. 300 kilometers, the highway is pitch dark. The headlights of your car can travel only 20 feet. But that 20 feet light is enough to carry through the 300 kilometers of darkness. Not a split moment you are in darkness. Not a split moment you are in darkness. Meaning, right through it is, spiritual journey is not a painful experience. It is very pleasurable. The very tapas is pleasurable. The very tapas is pleasurable. There is no pain involved in it. There is no suffering involved. There is no nothing negative about the yogas. Nothing painful about the yogas. Everything is painful about acquisition and enjoyment. Nothing painful about the three yogas. Forget about moksha. But then, out of ignorance, we understand it ulta. Tamasic intellect is going to say. Tamasic intellect understands it ulta what? Acquisition and enjoyment is very pleasurable. Tapas is painful. No. Right through, it is a pleasant journey. Pleasant journey. Because homecoming is always pleasant. No. Going away from the home is painful. Coming back to home is always a pleasurable thing, isn't it? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gives this example of homecoming. What is the example of homecoming? The girl, after getting married, visiting her parents' house, he says. What a joy it gives. Because it is homecoming. Husband house a brainwash panni, she has to believe it is my house. She has to brainwash herself to believe it is my house. But when she goes back to her house, there is a natural happiness. There is a natural pleasantness. That natural happiness, pleasantness is spiritual journey. Are you able to follow? All this happens because of what? Do virtuous deeds. And what is virtuous deeds here? Karma yoga, obligatory duties. What is obligatory duties? Nitya Naimittika karma. Technically called the five noble act. It's called the five noble act. Panchamaha Yajna it is called. The five noble act. The five noble act of Deva, Rishi, Pitru, Manushya, Bhuta. Each and every action of yours is dedicated to the welfare of this five, noble five, it's called. In Sanskrit, it's called Panchamaha Yajna. Meaning, actions for Deva means the gods. Rishi means the sages. Pitru means the ancestors. Bhuta, Manushya means fellow beings. Bhutani means the other species. So, Panchamaha Yajna means you make sure that you are contributing to all these five and not take anything from this five. That is Panchamaha Yajna, that is virtuous deed. What is virtuous deed? Deva, Rishi, Pitru, Manushya, Bhuta. Bhuta means the other species. What are the other species? Like some people feed the birds, some people keep water for the birds. You know, so many things where you take care of the other species. Bhutani, fellow beings. Habub and Adam, fellow beings. Then comes the Pitru. Pitru means the past. Respecting the past. One of the important Panchamaha Yajna is to have respect to the past. The present always sees the past as wrong, no? You're able to follow? The present will see the past as Wrong. Pitru means not worshipping your grandfather, great grandfather's, but it's not a specific. Pitru means respecting the past. For knowledge comes from the past. You respect the past. Opposite of that is the present always feels the past is wrong. My father felt his father is wrong and he is right. I felt I am right and my father is wrong. My daughter says she is right and I am wrong. Her children will say she is right, she is wrong and they are right. What is worshipping the Pitrus means? Respecting and being grateful to the past. All these 5 brings about a maturity. That's what we are saying. Rishis means, Rishi is a separate class. The sages are a separate class. Why they are a separate class? Because the Rishis keep this knowledge available. And what is Deva? Deva means the nature. Everything in nature is converted into a deity. The moment it is converted into a deity, the way you deal with it will be respectful. You can say sun or sun god. Water, water god. The moment you see it as water god, you will be careful about it. The moment you see it as a very ordinary element, you feel you can do whatever with it. Are you able to follow? What is Panchamaha Yajna? Virtuous deeds, noble acts means the 5 noble acts. Technically, it is called Panchamaha Yajna. And every day you have to keep doing this. When you are doing this, what is happening? When you are doing this, your gratitude improves. Your gratitude goes on growing. When the gratitude grows, clarity improves. For all the nobility, all the noble values comes out of gratitude. All the negative emotions comes out of ingratitude. That's all. Gratitude is the fulcrum. Lack of gratitude is all negativities. The root of all positivity is gratitude. You follow? These are the 5 virtuous deeds, 5 noble acts. Technically, it's called 5 noble acts. In a very general way, we call it as Nitya Naimittika Karma. Nitya Naimittika Karma means regular duties and special duties. Regular obligations and special obligations. It means in your life, you don't do any other actions other than Nitya Naimittika. Those men of virtuous deeds who have done this Nitya Naimittika, their sins have come to an end. I'm reading the verse now. Their sins have come to an end. They, who are they? Whoever has done this virtuous deeds, what has happened to them? They are freed from the delusion caused by pairs of opposites. They are freed from Dvandva Moha. What is freedom from Dvandva Moha? Knowledge is available to them when it is needed. When it is needed for their betterment, knowledge is needed. Nowadays, knowledge is available only to give a lecture to another. It is not available for one's own betterment. That is freedom from Dvandva Moha, and they have Drida Vrataha. They worship me with firm. That's all. Verse number 29. Padhiva.
Jara Marana Mokshaya Mamashritya Yatantiye Te Brahma Tattidhu Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam Jara Marana Mokshaya Mamashritya Yatantiye Te Brahma Tattidhu Krishnam Adhyatmam Karma Chakilam.
Those who strive for liberation from old age and death, taking refuge in me, they realize the whole. Brahman, Adhyatma, individual self, and all karma action. Those who strive for liberation from old age and death, taking refuge in me, they realize the whole, Brahman, Adhyatma, and all karma. Now, what he is doing here is 3 words is introduced: Brahman, Adhyatma, Karma. Next verse is going to say Adhyatmikam, Adi Bhautikam, something. He is going to say that. 8th chapter, Arjuna will say, define those 7 words. Define those seven words. Akshara Brahma Yoga. So, for all practical purposes, the second part of this verse and the next verse, which we will finish out today, because Arjuna will ask Krishna to explain those words and is going to elaborate those words in the next chapter, 8th chapter. So, what is the conclusion here? Jara Marana Mokshaya. Those who strive for liberation from old age and death. Old age and death. Jara, Marana. Because Jara and Marana are the 2 frightening things in life. There are so many things that is frightening in life. Of the so many things that is frightening in life, Jara and Marana. Jara means old age. Old age is frightening, isn't it? The moment an old person walks in, everybody wants to run away, no? Correct? The moment an old man walks in, everybody wants to run away. Why? Why? Like a broken gramophone record, that fellow will start from 1917, he will start. He will repeat a story. You hear the story. You remember that story. Fortunately, that person forgets it. That person forgets the story. And then that person will start afresh all over again when he sees you. How long can you do that? This is Jara, old age. Marana, clear. There are so many people who pray for that, no? Anayasana Marana, they say. Meaning, abde pottuna poidnu, sir, isn't it? ICU la poi, tubes here, tubes there, ventilator here, and then the doctor saying when to take it or not. Marana is old age should not happen, death should not happen. He's giving the definition of samsara, that's all. What is samsara? You don't get a better definition for samsara than this. This Jara Marana is the definition of samsara. Samsara, you are caught up in that, you are bound by that, you are chained in it, you are so frightened, but you don't know how to escape. That's samsara. See, if you don't know that you are chained, it's not samsara. You are chained and you do not know how to escape. That is samsara. Are you able to understand the definition of samsara? Vijay. If you don't know, ignorance is bliss. Where is the problem? You know that you are chained. You know that you are bound. And you know the pain. I don't know what to do to get out. And that person will do anything to get out. That is the beauty. What is it? Jara Marana Mokshaya. Another problem of old age is what? Mind is very much active. Desires and all is still there. Adallam pola. What has gone? The senses have become weak. Another problem. Desires are gone, now you have become wise. Are you able to follow? Desires want to go. All the faculties will go away. Shankaracharya, in his Bhashya, he says, what happens? One by one, the deities will leave, he says. In his Bhashya, Shankara writes about this Jara Marana. What is this Jara? One by one, the deities will leave, only the Golakas will remain, only the fleshy portion will remain. Ice is gone, but only the hollow block, it's hollow there, the eyes are plugged out. What will it? So, some hollow thing like that, everything will be hollow in that person. Why? Because all the deities have departed. Slowly they have departed. Why slowly they have departed? Nothing useful you did in this Janma. So no more to support you. It quietly leaves. But what doesn't leave? Raga Dvesha doesn't leave. Able to follow? Jara, Marana, Mokshaya. And what does this person do? What is the other discipline here? They take refuge in me. They come and surrender to me. They come and surrender to me. Surrender to me means surrendering to freedom. Me here refers, surrender to me refers Krishna. Not the body of Krishna, that which he stands for. What is it that he stands for? Moksha is recognizing your true nature. Recognizing who you are, recognizing your true nature is moksha. Those who recognized that moksha understands what? They understand Brahman, they understand Adhyatma, they understand action also. They understand action also, they understand. And what is the right understanding of action? The advantage with Krishna is he gives the answer first and then asks the question. The answer is already given. What is action? Right action. They understand action. What is that they understand? That's the prayer. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnav, Brahmanahutam, Brahmaiva Dena Gandhavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina. Everything that is connected with action is Brahman. That is right understanding of action, which we already saw in chapter 4. Chapter 4 verse 24. Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, Brahmagnav, Brahmanahutam. What is the right understanding about action? If you have rightly understood action, you will understand what? Everything that concerns action is Brahman. The doer is Brahman. The result is Brahman. The oblation is Brahman. Everything that is concerned about action is Brahman. Who understands that? Those who have taken refuge in me understands that. Adhyatma. I'm not going to elaborate this, because in chapter 8, that's what we are going to study. In chapter 8, Arjuna will ask this question. What is Brahman? What is Adhyatma? What is action? And nothing later he will ask again. What is action? You feel like giving one nice hug to him. You feel like giving one nice hug to him. Why? Thank God he asked this question, that Krishna goes into another elaboration. Thank God he asked it. So don't get angry at Arjuna, Shailesh. Yeah, don't get angry at him. You have to be very grateful to him, because every time he asks him to repeat the same thing, he asks the same question and he comes up with a different He comes up with a different angle. So in chapter 8 in Akshara Brahma Yoga, he's going to explain all that. What is Adhyatma, what is Brahman, what is action. So in this verse 29, he introduced 3 words. Next verse, he is going to introduce 4 more words. What is this right understanding? They go beyond old age and death. Understand the logic. See the logic. You have to see the logic and understand the logic and connect it to the entire chapter, which I will do in 2 minutes now. Going beyond old age and death means going beyond time. Beyond old age and death means going beyond time. Going beyond time means going beyond matter. For matter and time are inseparable. Going beyond matter means going beyond apara prakriti and getting into para prakriti. Chapter 7 summary is over. Jara Marana Moksha. Look at the logic. Beautifully he says it. Beautiful conclusion he comes to. Jara Marana Moksha. Jara Marana means old age and death. Even though we spoke about actual old age and death, philosophically it's not about an actual old age and death. It is going beyond time. Are you able to follow? Going beyond time means going beyond matter. For we know that much philosophy, we know what time and matter are inseparable. For they are one and the same. And what is matter? Going beyond apara prakriti. Okay. If you go beyond apara prakriti, where will you land? In para prakriti. Where will you land? In para prakriti. And who is that para prakriti? What is that para prakriti? Me. Me. Me means your original nature. That's what he says. Taking refuge in me. They transcend this old age, liberation from old age and death. They know. Only the self-realized, the wise one knows. What do they know? They know what is Brahman. They know what is action. And they know what is Adhyatma. Just remember those words as of now. That's all. There is no need to explain. We're not going to explain those words because chapter 8 is only starts with the question. This is verse number 29. Verse number 30 is another 4 more words. Nothing more in that. So we'll finish verse number 30. We'll read verse number 30. 30 padigo.
Sadhi bhutadhi daivam sadhi yajñam chaye viduhu prayana kale pichama te vidur yukta chetasaha sadhi bhutadhi daivam sadhi yajñam chaye viduhu prayana kale pichama te vidur yukta chetasaha.
Those who know me with Adi Bhuta, above elements, Adi Daiva, above gods, and Adi Yajna, above sacrifice, even at the time of death, they, steadfast in mind, know me. Those who know me with Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yajna, even at the time of death, they steadfast in mind know me. So 3 words there and 3 words here. So we will ignore those 3 words. The 3 words that we'll ignore is, ignore in the sense, next week we will study. Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yajna. Those who know Brahman, Adhyatma, Karma, Adi Bhuta, Adi Daiva, Adi Yajna. If you understand these 6 things, Prayana Kalepi. Prayana Kale Api. Prayana Kale means at the time of travel. Prayana means travel. At the time of travel. In Vedanta, whenever we talk about Prayana Kale, at the time of travel means Prayana means travel. What is the travel philosophically? Death. For all your travels you prepare. For this travel you don't prepare. For all other travels you prepare, no? Isn't it? Breakfast you will prepare, lunch you will prepare, water you will prepare, where you have to take a break you will prepare. Everything you will prepare for that, isn't it? Sandwiches for breakfast, tamarind rice for lunch, and podi idli for dinner. In between coffee also, flask, isn't it? Flask, coffee. What a preparation is done for travel, correct? Srikanth. In the travel, there is no preparation. Or what is the preparation for this travel? Knowing these 6 things is the preparation for this travel. Knowing these things, even at the time of death, you will not forget me. Time of death means even in that unconscious state, Brahman will remain. That's what it means. Death means that state of unconscious. Even when you become unconscious, the pure consciousness remains. So you know that. Prayana Kale Picha. Meaning, at the time of death also you remember me. What do you remember about God? Because death is becoming. Everybody around you will be conscious except you. That's called death, isn't it? What is death? You will be lying there, not knowing what is happening. And everybody around you will know what is happening. That is called death. Even at that time, what will happen? You know that it is the elements that is departing. The senses are departing. The elements go back to the elements, The senses go back to the respective gods. Yeah, whatever has to go back will go back to them. And what remains? Where will you remain? You will get disintegrated. Huh? Where will you remain? You remain in the pure consciousness. You remain in the pure consciousness. Rest of the things just departs. That's what he means by saying, even at the time of death, they know me. Even at the time of death, they know me. Meaning, elements goes back to the elements. Indriyas go back to the respective deities. Everything goes back to the respective deities. If everything has gone back, who are you then? What are you then? You know. What do you know? Aham Brahmasmi. You know that. That you will know. Aham Brahma Asmi. Even when everything goes, I remain as I am. That is Prayana Kalepi Mam Viduhu. You know me. You cannot forget me. Okay, sir. Before dying, I said Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. After death, what will happen? Vak will go to that respective deity. The eye will go to the respective deity. The elements will go back to the elements. What will happen to you? Oh, I'll go to Naraka, sir. What will happen to you? If you have known these 6 things, what will happen to you? You will know me. Know me means knowing yourself. What does knowing yourself means? Aham Brahmasmi. The departure of the body is not my departure. That is knowing me. The departure of the elements is not my departure. The departure of the indriyas to the respective deities is not my departure. Why? Because they know. What do they know? Bhutam they know, elements they know, yajna they know. For everything there is Adi Bhutam, Adi Daivam, Adi Yajna. Those words, don't worry about these words, which we will study in the next chapter, because Arjuna himself asked this question. Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti, he didn't ask. Paraprakriti, Aparaprakriti, he didn't ask. Yoga Maya, he didn't ask. Dvandva Moha, he didn't ask. But what did he ask? Explain these 6 terms that you said. Very confusing these words are. Very confusing these words are. That is called Akshara Brahma Yoga. Chapter 8. So we start with chapter 8 in the next class. It's a continuity of this. Continuity means those 3 words from 3 words from 29 and 3 words from 30 combined. Arjuna will ask, explain this. Or maybe Krishna himself wanted to say something about it. He introduced these words. Krishna obviously would have known. Arjuna would have no clue to these words. So maybe he wanted Arjuna to ask, elaborate this, so that we'll get another chapter. What is the chapter we get? Akshara Brahma Yoga, the yoga of imperishable Brahman. And what we got to understand this, the yoga of imperishable Brahman is spoken in the context of Bhakti, 7 to 12. In the context of Bhakti, where he is talking 7 to 12, Akshara Brahma comes in. When we go there, we will try to see what he is saying. With this, we conclude chapter 7. And we continue with chapter 8 in the next session. Yes, any clarifications we can take.
Mala has few clarifications.
Sir, namaskaram, sir. Sir, and the question about that Dvandva Mohala, I am confused, sir.
Yes, please.
I mean, you said the one follows the other. And they coexist. The technique, I mean, theoretically, sir, but how to understand when, say, I mean, I want to eliminate one, I want to retain one.
Yes.
But then where is the frustration coming? I mean, why is the frustration coming? I mean, should I eliminate the want itself, however pure or good?
First thing, there is nothing pure about any want. All want is impure, including moksha. There is nothing pure about any kind of wanting. All wanting is impure only. That is very clear. Now, out of ignorance, a person wants to retain one and get rid of the other. Why? Because this raga and dvesha invariably creates sukha and dukkha. It's not just raga dvesha. Are you able to follow? Raga dvesha creates sukha and dukkha. So what is the attempt? The attempt is to eliminate the dukkha and keep the sukha. Dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. Dukkha nivritti. So raga dvesha is nothing but sukha dukkha. Likes and dislikes is nothing but dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti, eliminating sorrow and retaining pleasure. Sukham. Sukham means that which gives pleasure. Dukkham means that which gives pain. So what is the attempt? Eliminate that which gives pain and retain that which gives sukham. This attempt is technically called Dvandva Moha. Are you okay, Mala, till now? This is called Dvandva Moha. Now, what is the reality of life? The reality of life is they exist. They exist. The Sukha and Dukkha is you are making out of it. That's why last class we elaborated it a lot. What is the elaboration we saw in the last class? The whole life is nothing but acquiring and getting rid of what you acquired. You acquire and then get rid of what you acquire. And what you get rid of becomes so meaningful to somebody else. You want to get rid of your house because it is causing dukkha to you. That house that is causing dukkha to you is causing sukha to another person. Correct? You sell your house. Why? இதெல்லாம் வச்சுட்டு ஒரே கஷ்டமா இருக்குது சார் மெயின்டைன் பண்றது. Who has to maintain it? Who has to manage all this, making such a big pain? So better to get rid of it. That which you want to get rid of because it is causing dukkha to you is causing sukha to another, because that person buys it from you after bargaining, negotiation, all that is understood. And then he does the graha pravesha, invites the whole world and celebrates that acquisition, isn't it? You celebrate the acquisition and mourn the loss. And what is loss for you is celebration for another. It means what? They exist. Pleasure and sukha and dukkha is what you make out of it. So what is Dvandva Moha? Dvandva Moha is a misunderstanding that objects or beings by themselves create sukha and dukkha. Knowledge comes and says, they don't create sukha and dukkha. It is you that create sukha and dukkha. Are you able to follow? The person fights the whole world to marry the person he likes or she likes. 6 months later, previously everybody said don't get married, they fought. Now everybody will say stay in marriage, they will fight to get separated. Correct? Purida Mala, example. They fall in love and the whole world will say don't. They will fight for what? To stay together. After 6 months, what will happen? The whole world will say stay in the marriage. They will say, it means what? At one point of time it gives sukha, at another point of time it gives dukkha. Why it gives sukha and dukkha? Because at one point of time you had a different mind, it gave you sukha. At another point of time you are having a different mind that gives you dukkha. This is freedom from Dvandva Moha. Are you able to follow?
So what should I think?
What
should I think when I get that sukha or dukkha in order to have the stability?
Yes. To have the stability, I explained the stability. What is stability? When it is there, you enjoy it. When it is not there,
don't miss it.
Don't miss it. When it is there, that is the maturity. When it is there, you enjoy it. It is not that. Why I am saying this as a definition of maturity is because, see, when there is a very good meal on the table in front of you, at that point of time, you don't sit and say, Agamapainaha, Anityaha, Dvandva Moha, Yogamaya. You don't say all that. You enjoy that meal. You enjoy the food in front. Next meal, it will be different. Next meal, it will be different. What will be different? ஒண்ணுமே இல்லாம இருக்கலாம், It can be very useless, maybe half cooked, maybe not cooked. You don't miss that meal. Are you able to follow? You don't miss it. When it is there, you enjoy it. When it is not there, you don't miss it. Shankaracharya gives a beautiful example. Not Adi Shankaracharya. The Shankaracharya here, he used to give a beautiful example for this. You go to Rishikesh, Haridwar and all, there are a lot of sadhus there, no? What sadhus they are, God only knows, but they are sadhus. And there are institutions that feed them every day. There are institutions that feed them every day. Now, when they are fed every day, it is ration. Two rotis and a dal. For lunch, roti and dal. For dinner, dal and roti. He says, for lunch, roti and dal. For dinner, dal and roti. And then tourist season comes. 4-5 months is the tourist season. Why everybody comes there? He said, God only knows why everybody goes there, but they will go there. And then when they go there, what they will do? Invariably, they will visit all these places and they give bhiksha, they give food. And when they give food, what will they give? They give puri masala, they give gulab jamun, unlimited also that is. Yeah. Unlimited also that is. Who is a sannyasi in the puri and puri or a combination? Mala. I don't know. Okay, whatever goes with puri. Okay, puri and aloo, gulab jamun, chapati, dal, everything will be there unlimited. When it is there, the sannyasi enjoys it. The tourist season is gone. Back to dal and roti. He is enjoying that also. Sometimes nothing will be there. He enjoys that also. This is freedom from Dvandva. Are you able to follow? Another story I'll give you. Not story. These are all not stories. These are all happening in real life of these great men. These all happen really. A few people gathered around Ramana Maharshi in Tiruvannamalai when he was alive. In his early days, a few people gathered around him. And those people gathered around him became a problem for him. Why? Because he has to feed them also now. See, as long as he was alive, he wasn't bothered about feeding at all. If somebody comes and gives him food, he will eat. Otherwise, he's happy. Now that 4 or 5 people are there, and then they will say, Swami, are you hungry? If they ask Swami, are you hungry? Now, what does it mean? I am hungry. Yeah, I am hungry. Feed me. So Ramana said, okay. Go. So he said, go and take bhiksha and come. We all will eat. And he composed a beautiful song for them to sing and take bhiksha. That's called Akshara Mani Mala. It's called beautiful song. It is composed by Ramana. So they sing that song in all the Madhavidis of the town and all that. Whatever food comes, they eat. One day, the group of that 3-4 people came and told Ramana that I think it's high time that we leave Tiruvannamalai and go to the next town. Ramana said, why all of a sudden? Nobody in this town knows your value. Nobody in this town is recognizing your worth and value. Why nobody is recognizing your worth and value? Because nobody gave food for 2 days. Nobody gave food for 2 days. Ramana said, when food came, did you ever ask why is food coming? You never asked, no? When food is not coming, why are you asking food is not coming? Why? When food comes, the God has decided that we will eat today, you eat. When food doesn't come, God has decided that no food for today, you don't eat. When it is there, you enjoy it. When it is not there, you are not affected by it. This is freedom from Dvandva Moha. All logic and reason, I explained all that. At least some stories will explain. I moved on to stories type now. Yeah. So I'm giving this. So, and what I like about the first example is that for lunch, dal and roti. For dinner, they will call roti and dal. What are they giving? Same thing only they are giving. And that man is relishing that. They enjoy that. They relish that. Some visitor come and they gave him. It happens in academy also. Yeah. It happens in academy also. Those times, not nowadays. It's all meals are a luxury. Yeah. In those days, Venkat, remember 92 Allah Shankar. Yeah, there are few Mahatmas here, great people here. Yeah, Shankar, Prasad, Venkat. They are all my seniors, huh? Prasad, correct? Yes or no? Correct. No, seniors they are all. Ravi. Yeah, Ravi. How did I miss Ravi? Ravi, Asha, all. No. Brilliant intellects. No, brilliant intellects there. No. So when they come, something they will come, something they will bring from Chennai, correct? Do you remember that? They all will bring something from here. Nothing they will bring. One Kalla Urunda, they will bring Ram Subramaniam. Nothing they will bring. One, yeah, local color. That also in Chennai railway station, central railway station, they will buy and bring. Oh, what I'm putting them down, huh? Poor things. They didn't do that. Wonderful it will be. When it is there, you enjoy that. When it is not there, back to puffed rice. When it is not there, what do you resort back to? The puffed rice. When it is there, you enjoy. When it is not there, you don't miss it. Are you able to follow? Mala. This maturity is what we talk about as the right knowledge and understanding. Otherwise, Agama Payana Anitya, Agama Payana Anitya, Agama Payana Anitya, if you go on looking at it from one angle, you will not be able to, there's a gulab jamun in front, you will not be able to enjoy it because you will, if you say Agama Payana Anitya, what will happen? The person who did all the hard work will break your bones and go away. No, with so much of dedication, hard work they are cooking and giving to you, what you should do, you should enjoy it with happy, you should eat it happily. Correct? That is maturity. When it is there, you enjoy it. When it is not there, you don't miss it.
That's it.
Did I answer you, Mala? Did I help you? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. With this, we conclude for today. We continue from next week.